All right, so introductions again. Hi, my name is Hannah Lee. I am the YA Services Librarian at Belmont Public Library. We're going to do stuff. I have a keychain kit that we have handed out to different people. In that kit, you will have received a bag of polymer clay. They are different colors. You should have at least 5 different colors, one of which is yellow, one of which is black, one of which is white, and then the other 2 colors are random. And then you should have a bag of small metal things. So in here, we have some metal rings. We have keychain links. And we have these little pin eye needles. So these are all different things that you can use for any of these crafts. The pin eye needles are mostly going to be used for the polymer clay craft. You will also have received instructions on how to heat your items so that they can be preserved in a more permanent way. For the polymer clay, it's not an air dry clay, so you will need to bake it according to the instructions in order for them to be preserved and actually usable as keychain items. For the perler beads, you will have to use an iron to heat this. I don't recommend using an oven because this is plastic, and as soon as you put this in an oven, it will also melt, which is why we only have the iron, which is a top-down heating implement, which technically should not heat the plastic part. As usual, warnings, be careful with very hot items. And then we have this piece of plastic that you have, which is for your Shrinky Inks. When coloring the Shrinky Ink, this is just a piece of plastic. I recommend using Sharpies and not washable marker. Washable marker is something that will easily wipe off of a plastic sheet. So use a Sharpie if you have one to color in anything that you want to do with that. Some extra tools that may be useful. And I think I have them here. I probably did not bring in the items. Okay, so some items that will be useful would be, here they are. Needle nose pliers. This is just something that could be helpful to you. It's not necessary. Like I mentioned, Sharpies, black or otherwise. Kitty scissors instead of big scissors, because these are actually much more dexterous. And you'll be able to cut around plastic sheeting much more easily with these instead. And then if you have Sharpies available, they'll be helpful. And then if you have a paper clip, this will also be surprisingly helpful. And anything that kind of has a rounded bottom. So a pencil and a pen tip, whatever. So either any of those will work. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do perler beads. I have some samples of different perler bead activities you can do. The one that I'm going to try out right now is the cactus. Because the cactus, this one is a larger format of a cactus. It has a 5-row bottom, and then it also branches off. I'm going to make mine a little bit smaller than that because I'm going to show you how big my iron is. This is my iron. So when you're going to be using an iron, you're going to be using a full-size iron, and you're going to have it set at medium heat. Make sure that it is dry. We do not want the steam setting on. So if it starts steaming up as you're about to place it onto your perler beads, make sure that's off before you do it. So this is my iron that I'll be using. And our extra item that will be useful for the perler beads is our paper clip. What I've done is I've pulled out the paper clip's edge so that there is one point sticking out. And in order to place my items, I'm actually just going to look for the green ones in my pile of perler beads. I'm just going to stick it on. And I'm going to show you that if you're looking for different items, this is a really easy way to kind of get all the colors you need. And as soon as you put that point down onto your perler bead tray, it's going to just drop it right on. So you won't have to worry about using tweezers or anything like that. This will be super easy for you to just make the connection. So this pattern has a 5-row bottom. I'm going to go ahead and do a 3-row bottom because I want a smaller one. But I'm just going to only do one at a time. So I'm just dropping it. So it has a 3-row bottom and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Its full length would be 16. So I'm just going to go ahead and do 3-row bottom. And on this pattern at the 5th, well, it's a 5-column, I should say, bottom. And then on the 5th row, it starts to branch. And I'm just going to start to branch at the 3rd row because I'm making mine extra small. Getting some more green ones out. I apologize to everyone who is colorblind. This is not a colorblind friendly craft. Now, would you guys want me to bring the camera closer so that you can see in detail what I'm doing? Thumbs up or down? Thumbs up. Okay, let's go ahead and bring the camera closer so you can see exactly what I'm doing. All right. So here I have my tray. And I am going to see if I can lean this down a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some more green. And I'm going to go ahead and start a branch at number 4. And you see, I'm not really worrying about the types of greens that I'm using, because as far as I'm concerned, the fact that they're green is good enough for me. And sometimes I end up putting one in a random place and I'm just like, you know what? That lives there now. That is exactly where I want that perler bead. Suddenly. So it's not too much of a worry if it lands in not the exact place you want it. But this one's getting tricky because it doesn't want to land in this specific spot. Haha, did it. Because I'm using random colors, I do enjoy it more if it feels like the random colors are in fact random. So if I'm getting a whole bunch of things that are in a row, then I'm just gonna swap one out here and there because I'm just like, you know what? Keep a theme, start a theme, keep a theme. In fact, I am almost done with this cactus. Feeling pretty good about this because it is a tiny cactus, so I can be all done real fast. Now, the reason why I picked an odd number of rows instead of just cutting it down to 4 was because I wanted, running out of dark greens, was because I wanted that little peak at the top. So wherever it ends, I want it to be like a 1 bead peak. So that is where I want to put my keychain. Okay, I feel good about this. Here's my little cactus. Should I put a, I should put a flower, like one little, maybe a rose colored flower, just right on top of this branch. Maybe off to the side. Make it even on this side. Got some little flowers on it. Now, when you heat this up, you're not going to put the iron directly onto the perler beads. Instead, you are going to take an outside item. This outside item usually is a piece of parchment paper. There's different names for parchment paper. Some is called wax paper. Some are called parchment paper. They're usually used for cooking. So they are heat proof. It's literally actually just paper though that's been covered in wax to prevent it from burning. So all you have to do is place your parchment paper, and I'm just gonna move this right there. I like that there better. Should I make one last edit? Maybe I want to put my flower on the inside here. And that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to put my parchment paper over, and then I'm going to, because my iron is on a low heat, I'm going to be keeping it on for longer. When you are doing this yourself, a good way to examine how you want to do it is just to see if it starts smoothing over a little bit. You don't want it to be completely smoothed over. So let's say, for example, you're baking cupcakes. You want to see them rise just a little bit and kind of fill out the edges. But if they start spilling over the edge of the cupcake mix, then that's a problem. So think of this as cupcakes. You just want it to spread a little bit, and then you'll be able to let it cool, and you're going to flip it upside down, and then you're going to place the wax paper on the opposite side, and you're going to heat that side as well. So both sides will be even. Now, one thing that you want to keep in mind when you're heating this is that when you have an iron, it might be really big and it might tip over, it might be a little uneven. So as you're heating it up, just make sure to continue to move it. So it won't completely warp in some ways, because I've had it where one side of it had completely melted and the other side of it was still kind of not done. So moving it around over your design is going to be best. You're only going to iron it for about 20 seconds when it's on medium. Because mine is on low, I'm just going to put it on top and let it sit there for a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on top, and by the end of this, we'll be able to see what my little keychain dude is like. Actually, this is progressing much more quickly than I initially thought. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can finish this up really quickly. So here's the little iron. Yeah, this is working out really well. I have very good thin wax paper. Okay. I feel like this has made the connection I need it to make. 10, 20 seconds, like we said. I'm flipping it over. I'm also making sure that the holes at the top do not completely congeal, because I need that hole on the top to put my keychain ring. Here we go. Let's see. 20 seconds. All right. Ooh, that's hot. So I'm gonna let that cool real quick. I don't need my iron for anything else, so I'm just gonna leave that be now. And now we're going to take a look at Shrinky Inks. When we do Shrinky Inks, all you have to do is think about first outline. There is a size graph on the paper that I gave you, so you can see exactly how much your Shrinky Ink will shrink. I'm going to go ahead and make a donut. I'm going to make a donut. Circle on the inside, circle on the outside. My donut is going to be strawberry with sprinkles. So I'm going to use this kind of can color to kind of create the inside a sense of the donut. I want red sprinkles, and pink frosting, blue sprinkles, and yellow sprinkles. Frosting first. I'm gonna make it wavy. It's spilling over the edge. And then I'm gonna fill it in. And as I go along, I'm gonna see if I can, yes. So before it dries, you can throw in a sprinkle here and there. And it will clear off the other ones. This is before it dries. So I am doing it a little bit of time as I go along. And then for the polymer clay demo, I need some opinions. Do you guys want me to demo the bumblebee, which you received instructions for, or do you want me to demo the dragon? You can type in the chat and I can see your vote. Blue, blue, blue. The sprinkles are going to go over the edge a little bit. Yellow, yellow, yellow. No preference. Okay. So I have made my donut on the Shrinky Ink plastic. Now, when you use a Shrinky Ink, you're going to make sure that your oven is heated to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can actually use this wax paper again. I recommend putting a piece of wax paper underneath of it as you put it on a tray. And then you're going to do color side up as you put it into the oven. Each one will take less than 3 minutes. So keep an eye on it as you work on it. Because if you are laying it down for, okay, to do it more than that, you do have to keep an eye. So what you see when this happens is you will see it start to curl up, and that is just it reacting to the heat. And that is perfectly fine. Let it curl up. Once it starts to lie back down after 1 to 3 minutes, that is when it is done. So you're going to leave it in there at 325 until it curls up, it scrunches up, and then as soon as it starts to settle back down, pull it out, you're done. And that will be the completion of your Shrinky Ink. Now, what you want to do before, cutting this out. Unfortunately, I made things difficult for myself, and I have a piece of plastic in the middle that I'm not going to be able to take out because it's in the middle. So I'm just going to take, I believe I have a hole punch. I'm going to take my hole punch, and I'm going to hole punch a piece at the top before I put it in. And this is going to be where I will put my keychain link. If you do this after, it's going to be much harder because as it condenses, it will also become thicker. So you want to make sure that you do the hole punch before you put it in. Great. And so in order to complete this, you'll put it into the oven, 325, 1 to 3 minutes. Make sure you watch it. If it does not, yeah, so once it lays flat, wait 30 seconds and then you complete the process and then you can remove it and lightly press with a piece of paper or a piece of wax paper until, and it will be completely flat when you're done. So this is supposed to shrink significantly smaller. So this should be just small enough to be like a keychain. So here is my completed cactus. I think it's a pretty good cactus. I put the flower in a weird spot, but you know, whole deal. In order to get a link on there, I'm just going to take my needle nose pliers and just kind of pull at it until I have a little bit of a gap. And I'm going to make sure that it goes through the hole that I made sure to save as I was putting this in. There you go. I don't even you. Okay, I need to open it up a little bit wider. And of course, my hands are too slick to get this all the way through properly. So I'm going to have to use the needle nose pliers again to hold onto it as I push it through. I'm actually going to use my paper clip to make sure that this actually, oh, there it goes. That was the problem. So it'll help. The hole is actually open. You'll be able to put it through properly. There we go. And I'm going to clamp it closed. Make sure there's no metal sticking out. And now I have a keychain made out of roller beads. And you can just slip on this guy and attach to anything. All right, so perler bead complete, donuts complete. Well, needs to be baked, but you know, almost there. Next up, we're going to go ahead and do the, let's try for the dragon. So you'll see how big these are. So the bumblebee is about the size of a thumb digit, like not even just like right before the joint. It's very, very small. So that's the reason I gave you such small pieces of clay, is because these little buddies are teeny tiny. And plus, if you have them on a keychain, you don't want them to be very big or else they'll just be really heavy. So I'm going to go ahead and start with dragon. I'm going to take out piece of white clay for the egg. I'm going to go ahead and roll it into a ball. And the classic roll it into a ball motion. Put it between your palms, roll, roll, roll. Ball done. And then I'm going to take the blunt edge of a bottom piece. This is an X-Acto knife, but you can use a pencil. I'm going to put that to poke into the bottom. And I'm going to bring this up and around. Make sure it's a ball at the shape at the bottom. And we're kind of opening it up a little bit so that we have good amount of stuff to pull in. Now I want this to be a cracked egg, so I'm just going to use an X-Acto knife and kind of chop in these. We do need a little bit of this clay to be the whites of the eyes. So this is a good point to be like, okay, I'm going to use my extra clay for this. And if you're also doing the bee, this is also a good time to cut out the pieces that you need for the wings. Go. All right, so I've got a little egg going on here. Just making sure it's nice and round. Got my extra clay balled up. I think this is a little too much for me, so I'm gonna actually pull some off at the bottom. You don't want it to be too thin or else it will lose its structure whenever it dries and it'll become more brittle. So having thicker pieces is better, and be consistent with how thick you're making your pieces. So here, and I'm going to make sure that it can stand. So I'm sticking it down to make sure it can stand. There you go. Bottom half of the egg. And then for the dragon, I'm going to make an orange dragon. Blue contrast. Ooh, an orange and black dragon sounds really fun. I'm gonna do an orange and black dragon. Okay. Ooh, and also pink. Okay, I'm just gonna do orange and black. Okay, so for the pink, for this, just go ahead and take a big chunk of color there. You're going to create a ball first. Roll, roll, roll. And then you're going to want to make a little pointed part of the face. So maybe more oval shaped than anything else. You're going to make sure that there's a neck part so that you can stick it down into the egg. And then you're going to take the back end of, I mean, it could be a pencil, could be anything, and you're just going to make dents where the eyes will be. And look at that, the Sharpie is pretty fun because it already makes little holes where the eyes are going to be. I like that. And then you're going to, you can take a paper clip again, make little nostril holes. Nostril holes. Big nose. And then you can pull out some pieces for the ears. Make sure you have plenty of room on top. And I'm just gonna make sure they're right shape. All right, so here's my little dragon head. make sure I've got enough to stick down in there. I think I gave him too much of a nose, so I'm gonna actually pull off part of his nose and make it smaller. Get its nostrils back again. Nostrils. Nostrils. Make sure his ears are nice and pointy. And now we're going to go ahead and work on the other portions, which are include the tail and the arms and the wings. So I'm going to take what I have left and cut it in half. And I'm going to roll just lines. So I want this to be pretty thick. So I'm going to actually tuck in the corners and roll again. I'm going to do a little bit thinner. Yeah, that's about right. And then I'm going to cut about 1/3 of the way through. 1/3, and then half of 1/3. These are going to be the arms. I'll have little pointy arms. And just looks like I can actually take some of that away because it wouldn't have fit. There you go. And there you go, buddy. It's got 2 little arms. Got some extra orange going on. And now we're going to go ahead and do the tail, which I'm actually going to make this side much thicker because I want to have a good base in there. And then I'm going to pull this out to make sure that has a pointed end. Go. I'm going to tuck that in there. I'm going to use the butt of this to kind of press it in, make sure they're all connected. Go. A little tail going on. I'm going to curl it downwards so that it doesn't get in the way whenever I have it on a keychain. Now we're going to do the wings. The wings are going to go ahead and make very thin, long ones. So just roll it out against the ground, pulling it as you do. The instructions have like much more detailed, like, oh, hey, do this, but I'm just making a worm. Much thinner. Oh, this is good. Oh, as soon as you get it really thin, it starts to be like, I'm just gonna go for eternity and break. So I think this is as good as I'm gonna get. I want to have a V shape. I'm gonna cut that out. So I want, is this too big of a, yeah, that's way too big. I'm gonna make them equal sizes. There we go. All right, and then the alternate color that I'm using is black. So I'm going to take some of this black. I'm going to roll into a ball. And one of the things that they do to make a flat piece is rolling a pencil or a pen or a Sharpie and like a cookie sheet roller. The best part about making triangles is that you just have to kind of generally get a square shape going on and then you cut it in half. So yay, geometry, square shape. Cut in half. Peel up. Place interior. Connect all the sides. And looks like I need to trim here. Oh, looks like that's pulled in. We have like a little bat wing going on, so pinch. Triangle, press on. I'll go ahead and cut the bat shape this one. And then pinch the middle. Accentuate it. And then I'm going to take the extra of this. I'm going to wrap this one around. To be on both sides. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and place this wing on. I'm going to fold them over so that it doesn't bother anything else too much. I'm putting them at the base of the neck and folding it a little bit away from the arms so that we have a little gap there. The other one. Right. Near the neck, wrap it around. And then pinch it on the bottom so that it makes a good connection there. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and make some little balls for eyes, and we'll make some little triangles for the fins. So I'm gonna put, this is a little too much. Nice big eyes. It's got a little uneven features, you know. He's a dragon. He can just blow fire at anybody who's mean to him. Use some more of this black. Ball, squish. And then anything that's a square can be turned into a triangle very, very easily. So I'm going to make a little rectangle going on. Let's make a little bit of a longer rectangle. And then I'm going to cut triangle, 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 triangle. Got some little triangles. Here's this little half triangle. Neck triangle. Actually, I'm going to skip the neck triangle, put it straight on his back. I'm going to make a tinier triangle for his tail. Now make sure that everywhere that you are joining your different pieces, that's a solid connection. So as soon as that dries, you won't be able to fix it. So do another tiny triangle for his tail. There we go. And then I'm just going to do 2 black dots for his eyes. You'll notice the more you work it with your hands, the stickier it will get. So be forewarned. Ah! Wipe that away, because that is a little bit too creepy. There we go. Little dragon buddy. Then you're going to take this eye keyhole and you're going to put it right where his wings meet his body. Get a good deep one in there so it's sturdy. Don't use one of the shallower ones because this is a big guy. Guy's got a lot going on. All right. And then you will once you are done with this, you're going to bake this. The instructions say that your oven needs to be 275 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to bake this for at least 60 minutes. This is a big guy, so he's going to need a long time to bake. Yep, and if you see that something's getting brown that you don't want to get brown, just cover it with foil. Yes, so just as long as it's 275 degrees, bake it for about an hour on a piece of foil if you'd like, or I mean, you can do it on a pan, but if you don't want this stuck to a pan, so make sure you cover your pan with foil first or wax paper and bake at 275 degrees for 1 hour. And then it will be hard like this guy. All right, so that is everything that I have planned for you today. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and we can chat. Thank you for joining.